The PS2 is one of my favorite game consoles of all time. Due to the large install base and general lack of understanding what it take 3D gaming at the time, there are a lot more ambitious and interesting titles there than there are for many consoles before or after. This could also describe the PS1, but there's something about the extra level of graphical fidelity that makes the PS2 much more nostalgic for me. I don't know why, I didn't grow up with one, but 6th generation sunsets and forests are just important to me. A fascinating little gem on the PS2 that I've come to adore over the past few weeks is simply known as Chulip. It's a game about getting your dream girl to notice you by becoming an extremely good kisser and writing really good love letters to her. What sounds like a simple premise is exacerbated through extremely convoluted cryptic puzzles in order to get the different residents to kiss you and improve your kissing abilities. One resident is part rocket ship, and you have to wait for him to count down to blast off to get him out of the underground hole that he lives in. Another one, you simply have to discover the favorite vegetable of and bring to her. One even has you getting arrested to make you a police officer happy with you. Ugh. Chulip is a wonderfully bizarre take on the mundane in an earnest and meaningful way. The crazy caricatures you need all have schedules, and they all have different needs and interests in order to get them to help you. The zombie girl, Mika, isn't just any zombie. She loves tea, and showing her a new recipe will help strengthen your bond with her. There's something really comforting about the world that Chulip creates and envelops you in. It's stable, one where everything operates on a schedule you'll be intimately familiar with after spending enough time in the world, with nothing changing without you progressing through the story first. People go about their days, and there's humor to your interactions with them. I love this one guy who just boxes a telephone pole and will fuck your shit up if you get too close without preparing. That was a fun interaction I found emergently. Why is this man agonizing near a temple and creating such a strong negative aura that it's physically painful? Who knows? Make sure to kiss him and help him feel better. Of course, the art direction is in service of this too. Everything is just so cute. I love the protagonist, I love his mannerisms, and I love that he's just really trying his best. The world of Chulip feels comforting, like a childhood you might have had. Until it doesn't. Chulip has another side to it, one that isn't quite as friendly. In fact, Chulip is notoriously antagonistic as an object of game design. It's incredibly common for you to lose absurd amounts of progress for the slightest mistake, and very little about the game is conveyed very well at all to you, to the point that the American version shipped with a guidebook that basically tells you exactly what to do at all times in order to get all the kisses. While this is almost certainly not intentional, the creators themselves even admitting they didn't know what they were thinking when they made the game so difficult, I think it does add a lot to the experience overall. The harrowing nature of Chulip as it exists showcases a darker side to the nostalgic romanticization of youth that we collectively as a society have. And this supports its larger narrative in the game as well. Throughout we see that life has always been awful, and the imagined great past of nostalgia simply doesn't exist. One of the earliest subplots we encounter in the game is between two characters, Mr. Suzuki and Mr. Yamada. These characters get into a huge argument over the fact that Mr. Yamada is no longer getting paid as teaching isn't getting enough funding anymore. An intense systemic failure that causes a falling out between coworkers and directly inconveniences you by making it so you can't write a good love letter after Mr. Yamada steals the perfect love letter writing set. In a capitalist society governed by money, essential work like teaching is completely fucked. And this has always been the case for any profit motive driven society, even in childhood, which Chulip so fascinatingly portrays. Throughout all of Chulip, we are exposed to capital's unfortunate grip on our world. My personal favorite has to do with a resident named Jigsaw. They're a person with a puzzle piece for a head. However, they've lost the other piece of themselves somewhere in Funny Bone Factory, an industrialist nightmare where people simply spend their time working constantly. This character's identity has been fractured by capital. A large through line of Final Fantasy VII condensed beautifully into a simple side quest in a small PS2 game. Even after you give them the other piece, they still decide their journey of self-determination isn't over, as evidenced by their quote in the photo album of all the people you've kissed afterward. I'm still looking for that piece of me, and someday I'm going to find it. Even if the game is largely cynical about the past, there are some times where it lets its guard down. A dark childhood belies a brighter future, so to speak. The photo album itself is a great example of this, a chronicle of your accomplishments, something that I don't think was completely necessary but completely recontextualized the entire game for me. There is beauty to be found in childhood. The awfulness of getting killed on accident by a strange kaiju creature or a dog that refuses to leave his doghouse is balanced out by strange conversations with aliens that you must hunt for the dictionaries to speak to. Each cryptic quest feels like a childhood adventure. You don't know where to find the ingredients for Dr. Dandy's potion. Searching for what might be the ingredients is an ingenious way to incentivize the player's exploration to find even more mundane yet interesting things, even if looking through the trash cans is a hassle and might kill you randomly. It's whimsical in spite of its own suffering, just like life so often is. Chulip understands this wonder also through its presentation. Nothing beats the nostalgia of watching the sun set on a 6th-gen console. There's just such a beautiful quality to the lighting in the entire city, with the super deformed chibi characters that roam the streets of this cozy Japanese town. It feels like home, a town that I've been to before. A dreamy, surreal home that's surprisingly grounded in its mundanity. And is there anything more special than that? At the end of the day, while Chulip isn't realistic in a starkly literal sense, it is a game that feels more real than most out there. One that explores just how life feels and is. It's a small world for you to exist in, if only for a little bit, one full of wonder and hardship. Both a condemnation of nostalgia and an embracement of it. A town I'll want to visit again and again. This has been Arcade Everlasting, who thinks that games with in-depth schedules are one of my new favorite kinds of games, signing off. Thank you for watching.